bridging gaps, and reaching boundaries. This is Banaybanay District, School on Air. Let us learn, explore, and discover in the reinvention of education for the new normal at School on Air.
North, South, East, and West, anywhere in our country. A pleasant morning! How are you, my dear newbies, coming from grade 11 oral communication class? This is Banaybanay District School on Air. I am Teacher Juvie from Banaybanay District at your service. Please make sure you are comfortable in your seat while enjoying and listening to our broadcast. Get ready and focus well to learn our new lesson. Now, get your oral communication module, your ball pen, and notebook. Are you ready? So let's begin. Since you are now a senior high school student, I think you are ready to learn our new lesson. Allow me to introduce our oral communication teacher, Teacher Maan. Listen carefully and enjoy learning.
Hello, my dear students. I am Teacher Maan Menor, your teacher in the subject Oral Communication in Context. I want to let you know that I am happy to be with you and I will help you get through with your new learning adventure. The topic that I'm going to share with you today will help you understand the importance of good communication skills at home, school, and at work. It will also provide you with opportunities to continually improve in the acquisition and application of communicative skills through active and interactive engagement in the activities prepared for you. The lesson jumpstarts with a basic definition of communication, down to its function, nature, elements, and processes that will help you achieve your role as an effective communicator. So, my dear students, lend me your ears as we begin the learning ride. To start, let's get to know the nature and elements of communication. Jim Rohn said that effective communication is 20% what you know and 80% how you feel about what you know. Do you agree with his idea? What can you say about it? Well, your idea sounds good. So, in this lesson, you are expected to understand why we need to study communication, give the definition of communication, and identify the process of communication. Before we start with this module, let us check what you already know about this course by answering this pre-test. Kindly prepare your pen and your communication activity notebook. Please do not forget to write the date of today whenever you will have activities written in your activity notebook. Students, write true if the statement is correct and false if it's otherwise. Number 1. Communication is a process. Communication is a process. 2. The sender decodes the message to be transmitted. The sender decodes the message to be transmitted. 3. Channel is a medium of communication. Channel is a medium of communication. 4. Talking to the self can develop one's self-confidence. Talking to the self can develop one's self-confidence. 5. The receiver interprets the message received. The receiver interprets the message received. 6. Communication can either be written or spoken words. Communication can either be written or spoken words. 7. The receiver is the source of the message. The receiver is the source of the message. 8. Man cannot survive without communication. Man cannot survive without communication. 9. Communication is a one-way process. Communication is a one-way process. And number 10, to seek for clarification, channel is needed. To seek for clarification, channel is needed. Great job, everyone! Just hang on with your answers, and as we go through with our lesson, let us all find if those sentences are all correct. Our second pre-activity is Poetry Plus. This time, you are going to listen and analyze the poem that I'm going to read to you. Then, answer the questions that follow afterwards. Write your answers on your communication activity notebook. Lend me your ears and listen very carefully. The poem goes like this.
Make me understand you, and credit to whom credit is due. You're best in boosting my confidence and in giving meaning to my existence. I planted feelings, ideas, and thoughts. It bore understanding, trust, and fruits of beautiful friendship and love so pure and fragile like a dove. We got from you the rightful tips, from building broken relationships to patching up gaps of unknown reasons. You were there in all seasons. I smiled for the beautiful things said to me. I cried for every hurting word thrown at me. You're every reason for my expression, or else everything is kept hidden in my emotion. Without you, how would I know what's new? Would I even learn my language too? I have watched the stars at night, read them in books, and heard good talks about the universe and humanity. The division of connection and its complexity. Should I just keep wondering, or will I be spreading what you have done for everyone? Without you, life could never be this fun. Through you, I understand why no man is an island. Man needs to share, to survive, to grow. We need communication, I know.
So, you have heard it just right, my dear students. And that was an original poem composition by Dorcas Menok Bandiala. And now, it's time to answer the following questions. Please prepare your pens and your notebook. I will give you time later on to answer these questions. Number 1. What is the poem all about? What is the poem all about? 2. Who or what do you think is being referred to as the you in the poem? Who or what do you think is being referred to as the you in the poem? 3. How did the speaker describe the you in the poem? Give as many descriptions as possible. How did the speaker describe the you in the poem? Give as many descriptions as possible. 4. How does the poem relate to the lesson? How does the poem relate to the lesson? And number 5, create a title of the poem. Create a title of the poem. Well done! Now, review first your answers while we're having a short break.
Basahin ng sabay-sabay. A, ba, ka, da. A, ba, ka, da. Sa Brigada Eskwela.
Ikaw at ako, sama-sama lahat tayo magbayanihan. Buong mundo kaway, sabay-sabay. Abacadabra. Kaway-kaway, sabay-sabay. Tayong lahat ay magbayanihan. Sama-sama magbrigada eskwela. Magkakaisa ang ating kailangan. Kaway-kaway, sabay-sabay. Tayong lahat ay magbayanihan. Upang matiyak ang kalidad na edukasyon ng kabataan. Magbayanihan na. Sa Brigada Eskwela. Abacada sa Brigada Eskwela.
And we're back to Kabanay FM. Let's listen again to Teacher Maan for the continuation of our lesson.
The activities that you had done clearly show the importance of communication. True enough, communication plays a vital role in our existence. Even in the simplest form of self-expression, communication is essential in our lives as we tell others about ourselves and even as we exchange information, thoughts, and feelings and create relationships with other people. Talking is a way of communicating with others and with yourself. We communicate from the moment we were born. Now, the questions will still continue to echo. Can man live without communication? Can the world survive without communication? No, of course. Man needs to communicate to understand, live, grow, and survive. So, if communication is so important to us, then what is communication? Webster defines communication as a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior. Communication is a process of sharing and conveying messages or information from one person to another using different means, medium, contexts, media, and cultures. There are different ways and terms in which communication can be manifested. It can be through face-to-face, a phone conversation, a group discussion, a meeting or interview, a letter correspondence, a class recitation, and many others. In other words, the basic functions of communication are to achieve understanding or shared meaning and to persuade, inform, entertain, and manage relationships. Now, let's take a closer look on the process of communication. Students, prepare your pens and papers, and while I'm presenting it, you can make your own matrix to see the flow of the process. This is how communication takes place in any given situation. First, the speaker generates an idea. He or she will think and come up of a topic to be his message. Second, the speaker encodes or converts the idea into words or actions using signs, symbols, and gestures. Third, the speaker transmits or sends out a message. Fourth, the receiver gets the message. Fifth, the receiver decodes or interprets the message based on the context. Lastly, the receiver sends or provides feedbacks. Let's dig deeper by giving a sample scenario. Here is a sample showing the communication process and the communication flow between Nico and Sheena. Sheena, being the sender, expresses her feelings to Nico, her suitor, but only as a friend. Nico, the receiver, was hurt upon receiving Sheena's message. First process. The speaker generates the idea.
Example, Sheena loves Nico, her suitor, as a friend.
Second process. The speaker encodes or converts the idea into words or actions.
Example, Sheena thinks of how to tell him using their native language.
Third process. The speaker transmits or sends out a message.
Example, Sheena tells him, Nico, mahal kita. Bilang kaibigan.
Fourth process. The receiver gets the message.
Example, Nico hears what Sheena says.
Fifth process. The receiver decodes or interprets the message based on context.
Example, Nico tries to analyze what she means based on the context in their relationship and he is heartbroken.
Sixth and last process. The receiver sends or provides feedbacks.
Example, Nico frowns and does not say anything because he is hurt.
Did you get it? See? This is how simple communication process goes. We actually do this every day, right? So, to sum up, communication goes through a certain process involving the sender, who is the source of the message, which is the shared information, the receiver, whose function is to decode the meaning of what was received, and of course, the feedback, referring to the receiver's reply to the message. Now that you know what communication is and how it works, let us try to show the process. On your notebook, make boxes and connect it with arrows. Following the process of communication, write a scenario on how the process is done in actual conversation. You can choose from these examples. 1. I am thinking of telling my friend about my problem. 2. My friend gives me advice. 3. My friends listen to me. I repeat. 1. I am thinking of telling my friend about my problem. 2. My friend gives me advice. 3. My friends listen to me. You will be given 5 minutes to do your activity. Your time starts now.
We will be right back after a short break.
Sos mare, ay kahinay na lang gyud sa internet. Mahal pa jud kaayo og binulan.
Mao bitaw mare na ako na lang gimodular ang akong anak.
Lain pa'y ato mare. Kabalo ba mo? Pwede man pug ka maminaw sa radyo. Aduna kita'y ginatawag na radio broadcasting information. I-on lang imong radyo ug pangita ang 104.1 Kabanay FM.
Sige lang mga maring oy, magpataod na lang jud pug ko og kusog-kusog nga MBPS. Unsaon na lang to si Paripod nga gusto baya makaistorya kada adlaw iyang mga anak.
Sige mga maring, oy, diri sa ako. Kaya ako patong tabangan akong mga anak ba, nag-answer po ba ito sila silang mga module.
Sige, hapit na pud ang 3:00, magsugod na pud ang klase sa radyo karon. Ayo-ayo mo mga mare.
Live na live here at Banaybanay District School on Air. Let's listen again to our radio teacher, Teacher Maan, for more learning.
Wow! You are indeed very amazing and your enthusiasm to learn is exhilarating. What's up next? There are more interesting activities that await you. In the meantime, let's check what you have learned so far and what you can do with what you have learned. Ready? Now, prepare your notebook and your pen. Listen very carefully and answer the questions that follow. Write the letter of the correct answer on your notebook. Number 1. Which is not an element of the communication process? A. Message. B. Sender. C. Technology. D. Receiver. Again, which is not an element of the communication process? A. Message. B. Sender. C. Technology. D. Receiver. 2. In the communication process, decoding takes place A. By the sender. B. When replying. C. Within the message. D. By the receiver. Again, in the communication process, decoding takes place A. By the sender. B. When replying. C. Within the message. D. By the receiver. 3. An error or mistake in a document due to encoding is a sample of a barrier. A. True. B. Maybe. C. False. D. It doesn't tell. Again, an error or mistake in a document due to encoding is a sample of a barrier. A. True. B. Maybe. C. False. D. It doesn't tell. 4. Which is not a means or medium of communication? A. Phone call. B. Letter. C. Email. D. Environment. Again, which is not a means or medium of communication? A. Phone call. B. Letter. C. Email. D. Environment. 5. Johnny has a habit of ignoring the message of his mother. Which element is referring to Johnny's response to the message? A. Channel. B. Participation. C. Context. D. Feedback. Johnny has a habit of ignoring the message of his mother. Which element is referring to Johnny's response to the message? A. Channel. B. Participation. C. Context. D. Feedback. 6. When we convert a message into actions, it is called A. Decoding. B. Encoding. C. Listening. D. Feedback loop. When we convert a message into actions, it is called A. Decoding. B. Encoding. C. Listening. D. Feedback loop. 7. Communication skills are helpful in A. Teaching. B. Asking questions. C. Listening. D. All of the above. Again, communication skills are helpful in A. Teaching. B. Asking questions. C. Listening. D. All of the above. And number 8, the school principal gives his speech during the first school recognition program. Who is the receiver of the message? A. Recognition program. B. Principal. C. The parents. D. The students. Again, the school principal gives his speech during the first school recognition program. Who is the receiver of the message? A. Recognition program. B. Principal. C. The parents. D. The students. Well done, students! You have learned communication and its process. For your assignment, you are going to complete the Freyer model with key ideas and concepts about communication. You may review your lesson if necessary. By the way, a Freyer model is a graphic organizer used to build your vocabulary. This technique requires you to define communication and apply your knowledge on it by generating examples and non-examples, giving characteristics or descriptions. Do you still remember it? If you forgot, just refer to your oral communication module, page 13. This activity will serve as your portfolio activity number 1. So, you are going to do this using your bond paper. Did you get it? And that's it! It was such a great way to learn and realize the beautiful things communication has done for us. Before we end our discussion today, let me remind you to prepare your activity notebook and the activities given to you, for I will be collecting it the next days. Make sure that you have answered the tasks given to you. Well, our first topic in Lesson 1 is done. I hope you have learned something. Till next time!
And now, here's Teacher Kenley and Teacher Hazelyn for the things to remember.
Hi, I'm Teacher Kenley.
And I am Teacher Hazelyn. Now, let's check the things to remember. Man needs to communicate to understand, live, grow, and survive. Communication is a process of sharing and conveying messages or information from one person to another using different means, medium, context, media, and cultures. There are different ways and terms in which communication can be manifested. It can be through face-to-face, a phone conversation, a group discussion, a meeting or interview, a letter correspondence, and a class recitation, and many others. In other words, the basic functions of communication are to achieve understanding or shared meaning and to persuade, inform, entertain, and manage relationships.
How communication takes place. Well, communication takes place in any given situation. First, the speaker generates an idea. He or she will think and come up of a topic to be his message. Second, the speaker encodes or converts the idea into words or actions using signs, symbols, and gestures. Third, the speaker transmits or sends out a message. Fourth, the receiver gets the message. Fifth, the receiver decodes or interprets the message based on the context. And lastly, the receiver sends or provides feedbacks.
And that's it! We're done with our first lesson for the week. You can check out the lesson we have discussed from the module given to you. If you have any questions and clarifications, you may contact your oral communication teacher. Let's call it a day until our next tune in here in 104.1 Kabanay FM, ang Radyo Bibo ng Banaybanay. Mo ba? Kuyaw! Thank you and God bless!